reliving Game 1. And so is LeBron James, thanks to his media availability, where he was asked about the viral clip showing his reaction when it was confirmed to him the Cavs had a timeout amidst the J.R. Smith snafu.
Me? Me being criticized? No. You saying I got criticized for something, right? No, I don't believe that. Not me. I mean, we're in the NBA Finals. I mean, how much more picking up teammates you want me to do? We're in the NBA Finals to compete for a championship.
So should LeBron be criticized for how he handled that moment?
Absolutely not. I mean, I think he should be commended for the restraint he showed in Game 1. One, when he found out from J.R. Smith that he thought they were ahead in the game. Two, when he found out from Ty Lue that his coach knew there was one timeout left in the game. That was a natural reaction we see right here. And listen, he played Superman in Game 1. All he needed, Robin, was one of these guys to make a decent play. Not an exceptional play, a decent play, and Smith and Lue could not get it done.
Yeah, and he is only human. Of course that's going to hurt in the moment. I think what this really shows you is just he faces a level of scrutiny we've never seen before. I mean, Kevin Durant had bad fourth quarters in that Houston series, and it was barely talked about. And when you get into the LeBron-Jordan conversation, think about this for a second. Who are Michael Jordan's chief critics? Newspaper columnists, right? LeBron has had to face the 24/7 news cycle, guys like us, podcasts, radio shows, social media. It's omnipresent, and to be able to deal with it like he does is actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, and let's face it, we said we're still talking about Game 1. There's a reason, because it completely changed this series. Still 2 games to go, though, in the NBA Finals, but the free agent talk that'll dominate this summer is already heating up. LeBron and Paul George are set to become free agents, and the two will reportedly meet to discuss teaming up in Los Angeles with the Lakers. What do you think? Should these two join forces in L.A., Robin?
No, I don't think so. I don't know if Lakers fans even are embracing the idea, especially Lakers fans who double more as Kobe Bryant fans. The Lakers have a far way to go from the team they are now to the team they would want to become. And the more I think about it, and of course we've all thought about this a lot, I think Houston is clearly the most sensible situation for LeBron James. He goes there, he gets to play with Chris Paul, an all-time great, his best friend perhaps in the league, James Harden. That's a huge big three. And even if they have to sacrifice some of the other role players, Daryl Morey, the GM, has proven he can work on the margins. He's put competitive teams out there before with no stars, and Mike D'Antoni is a guy who can make all that work. So as far as toppling Golden State, Houston has already shown a bit of a blueprint. I think that's the move for LeBron, and Paul George, I think, fits perfectly in Philadelphia, actually.
See, I think LeBron needs to think about how he wants to be viewed here. If he wants to form the best team that can beat the Warriors, I agree that it's Houston. But I think going to Houston to a team that's ready to win and almost toppled the Warriors on their own kind of sullies his reputation. I think if he was to go to a place like L.A., team up with George, and then take some young talent, legitimate young talent, Kuzma, Ingram, Randall, and win with that team, he would look like the superhero that he's perceived to be already.
See, I think all of the, it's a bad look for him, got thrown out the window when Golden State came together. I think everybody understands the monstrosity that the Warriors are, yeah.
You're critical. People are critical of the Warriors. People are still critical of Durant for doing what he did.
The only move I think LeBron James could make that people would be critical of, myself included, would be going to the Warriors. Other than that, I believe everyone realizes he has to form a super team in order to take down the super duper team in Golden State.
Isn't that the key, though? Form a super team rather than join a super team.
Well, yes, but when you're talking about joining the super team that was Golden State, remember, they won 73 games. That was different than anything else we had ever seen. We may have been talking about them. And in fact, if we were to get in a hot tub time machine and go back in time, I promise you shows like this, we're asking, is this the greatest team of all time? And that was before Durant. Meanwhile, a member of that team, Klay Thompson, is a free agent in 2019. And his dad, Michael, said he won't be signing an extension early, even though he plans to stay in Golden State. Of course, waiting another year could maximize Klay's earnings, but hurt the Warriors' salary cap. Regardless, do you think Klay Thompson should consider going somewhere else to be the man, given he already has all the rings?
You know, I don't know Klay, so I don't know the personality. Does he feel like he wants to be the man somewhere else? Clearly, he doesn't necessarily have to leave to make the money. He just has to wait, and wait a year. We're talking a ton of money. We're talking upwards of almost $100 million difference if he was to wait rather than sign a contract extension this coming summer. I don't know. Does he want to go make a ton of money, be the man, average 25 points per game, and be on a team that's a 7 or 8 seed? Because that's what I envision the career of Klay Thompson post Golden State.
I don't think his personality says he needs to be the man, and I also don't think his game says he should be the man. He's not a guy that creates off the dribble to a superstar level, but he is a superstar complementary player that fits in anywhere because of his ability to shoot, because of his ability to defend. I think the role he's in right now is the best possible one for him, and I don't think it helps him to go anywhere else to try and elevate his stats.
Yeah, you hit on a good point, and I was thinking about it too. The guys who are the man, they have the ball in their hands primarily most of the game. He's not that guy. He's a slash guy. He's a catch and shoot guy, a perfect 2 to someone else being the man.
No doubt about it. DeAndre Ayton might not be number 2, might be number 1 in the upcoming NBA draft. But what does a 19-year-old future pro do between the end of the NCAA tournament and the start of his NBA career? SI got a chance to find out. Take a look and catch the whole thing on SI TV.
My experience as an Arizona Wildcat was rough.
The latest scandal in college basketball continues to unfold after ESPN reported FBI wiretaps caught Arizona coach Sean Miller discussing a $100,000 payment to ensure DeAndre Ayton signed with the Wildcats.
Tucson was great, but just the outsiders, they made it kind of difficult. When I saw it, my name was being thrown like that in the world. It's like crazy. And everyone's calling your phone, the media's out there to get you, you're trending. You see it on TV, the highlights under this scandalism is just, it hurts.
DeAndre Ayton, the player in question here, will play. Arizona says we're playing DeAndre Ayton.
That night at the Oregon game, that one was rough.
This is what I can't concentrate with this crowd behind me chanting 100,000.
I came to destroy Oregon. I came to destroy the whole arena. I wanted to break the rim. I never felt so close to teammates before. All this adversity we overcome really helped me to be a better person.
If you were building a team combining Golden State and Cleveland, who would be your top 5? Well, Robin and I are going to give you our picks. And let's start with the top pick. And as you know, on this show, you're not going to find LeBron haters from these guys. This was pretty easy, right, Robin?
It's worth noting how easy this was, considering how good the next faces we're about to see are.
Conflict with our picks here at number 2. Robin, you went with Steph Curry as your second pick.
Yeah, I think this is actually easier than you would think because look at the history. The Warriors won a championship before Kevin Durant. Steph Curry won 2 MVPs before Kevin Durant. The Warriors won 73 games before Kevin Durant. How can I say Kevin Durant's the best player when all those things happen?
I just think when it comes to talent and skill and uniqueness, Kevin Durant is a generational talent. At 6'9", he plays inside, outside, his mid-range game. He's basically unguardable. And I think at times during Curry's career, against the appropriate defense, he can be contained. I've yet to see anyone contain Kevin Durant. For number 3, we swapped here, so I've got Curry at number 3.
At number 4, we went with the same guy here, and that would be Klay Thompson. I think he fits in any situation, and that's part of his value. 3-and-D God is what I call him.
Yeah, he's the third option on this Warriors team. He'd be the 4th option on the team we're constructing. That's a pretty good 4th option, with Klay Thompson being such a threat from the outside. The perfect complement to the players that we had just talked about. And here is where we disagree quite a bit at number 5, Robin. You're taking Draymond Green with your 5th pick to round out your top 5. I've got Kevin Love. Explain yourself.
I think you're crazy. Look, if I was picking a team and you were looking for a guy to be your number 1 offensive option, I guess I would go Love over Green. But if Love's your number 1 option, you are a bad team. Draymond Green makes every team in the league better, and his defense is far more valuable than Love's offense.
I'll give you the defense, but if Draymond Green is your top option, that team is awful. That team is a lottery team. We're talking about a different talent level here. Kevin Love has shown he can carry a basketball team.
To where?
He can carry a team, period. He can be the one guy. He can average 26, 13, and 4, as we saw when he's not playing second fiddle to LeBron James. Kevin Love is far and above him.
On offense, Draymond's a better playmaker than Kevin Love, and I think it's easier to construct a championship team with Draymond a part of it than Love a part of it.
Yeah, if you're constructing a team and how they all fit together, the pieces, hey, he's the perfect complementary 5, but I still take Love.
I'm a guy that likes to go fast, and sometimes the officers just don't understand that. I do try to make sure that I drive safe on the roads. I try to go with the speed and the flow of traffic, but there was this one other time, though, I was actually late to a practice session at a racetrack once. Like, literally, the cars were going to be on track in 20 minutes, and I had like 18 minutes to get there. And I was speeding a little bit. I was 7 over. Cop pulls me over, and he comes up to the car, and he goes, "Aren't you supposed to be at the racetrack right now?" And I go, "Yeah, can you help me with that? Like, I gotta go." And he thought it was funny. So then he gave me a police escort to the racetrack. Fast is where it's at.
All right, it's June, which means mandatory minicamps have begun around the NFL. Let's talk some football and welcome in the MMQB's Albert Breer. And Bert, first off, congrats on taking the reins of the weekly MMQB column. I know you're going to have a busy couple months ahead of you as we get into football season. Let's dive into some minicamp storylines here. We start in your neck of the woods, New England, with the Patriots. There was a lot of chatter around Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski not attending the voluntary OTAs, but both were on the field Tuesday at Pat's minicamp. What should we be keeping an eye on at this point at Pat's camp?
I mean, it's business as usual there. And I think by design, they wanted to try to make it seem as if nothing really happened here. And they effectively did that. I saw zero interaction between Belichick and Brady, which is basically the way it normally is. Normally, you know, Brady's really working with Josh McDaniels. Gronkowski looked great. Brady looked great. I'm sure both those guys wanted to go out there and prove a point that they're ready to go to both their teammates and the staff. I think they effectively did that. You really didn't notice much of a difference in the way that Brady operated, Gronkowski operated, or the team operated. I still have to think that there's some effect here. I mean, we've heard for so long, and Ryan, you used to work up in that market. We've heard for so long how there are advantages in the details and there are advantages in the amount of time they spend and how hard that program is. So we can't celebrate all of those things and act as if missing 7 weeks of the offseason program means nothing for either of these guys. But certainly, you know, in that snapshot on Tuesday, it looked like business as usual for the team.
And we're hearing that Belichick may have been in midseason form. He kind of snapped at the offense. I mean, is there any carryover effect of frustration spilling out, or is that just Belichick picking up where he left off?
That, you know, it was a fun moment because what you saw there was the offense jumped offsides, and he basically said, "Let's bleep and go," and pointed to the goal posts and basically telling the offensive group to go take a lap. They take a lap. And as they're coming back, all of a sudden you see Belichick cussing a blue streak at a player, right? And it almost looked like it was Brady for a second. Like Brady's walking towards him, and it's like, oh my God, is he like cursing out Brady now in his first hour back on the field in a Patriots uniform? And of course, you see Brady walk right by him, and you're starting to think to yourself, did he ignore him? No, he was just yelling at Dwayne Allen, who was standing behind Brady. So you did get that moment where you see, of course, even though it's only June, Belichick still likes to have that sort of intensity out there. And it was a fun moment seeing where it looked, at least for a second there, like maybe he was yelling at Brady and maybe we had some of that drama. And then it just turned out he was yelling at the tight end.
You talk about storylines. That would have been a big one. Let's talk about the rookies here. Browns head coach Hugh Jackson believes his rookie QB, Baker Mayfield, has looked right on schedule so far. However, Mayfield believes things have been a little slow. Meantime, Sam Darnold has been getting a lot of reps with the Jets. A lot of buzz, of course, around the Giants rookie Saquon Barkley. Out of all the rookies, which one has impressed you so far early in these OTAs and minicamp?
Well, I haven't put my own eyes on them, so I'm going to establish that first. Most of them, at least. I've seen a couple of them, not too many of them. So really, this is based on what I'm hearing from teams. And I think the first one that really jumps out as far as what I've heard is Saquon Barkley, who I think we know that at that position, you should be able to contribute quickly. The historically running backs can contribute quickly. And so, I think that his athleticism, his ability to catch the ball, his overall ability in the passing game has really jumped out to the Giants coaches. And I asked one of them, like, what can you really see at this time of year? Because, they're not hitting yet. It's, for the most part, a little bit of a ramp down part of the NFL calendar. And the way one coach put it to me, he said he moves like he's 5'8" and 170 pounds. Now remember, this is a 6 foot, 230 pound specimen. So if he's moving like that, even at this time of year, I think that means something. So Saquon's the first one, as you'd expect, as a guy who'd be drafted second overall. He's the first one that really stuck out as far as what I've heard on these players. Another one to watch that I thought was kind of an interesting name that popped onto my radar over the last week was Panthers receiver DJ Moore. What I've heard from the Carolina coaches is that he looks the part, like the way he moves, the way he's operated, the way he's picked up the offense, looks the part of a guy who was the first receiver taken in a draft. And remember, this is a need for the Panthers. They need help at the receiver spot. They traded Kelvin Benjamin last year. I mean, Devin Funchess still looks like a good number 2, probably not a number 1. They've got some other weapons in that offense. Greg Olsen, obviously Christian McCaffrey in the backfield. Curtis Samuel is a slash type of weapon. But they haven't had that number 1 receiver, and really that's what Kelvin Benjamin was going to be. Never really quite got there. And there's at least optimism now. It's still early, obviously. He's only been there for about a month. But there's optimism just looking at him athletically and what they've seen out there in the practice field that DJ Moore could eventually evolve into that.
NFL has turned, of course, into a 12-month-a-year league. June is here. So many great storylines we're keeping an eye on. Albert Breer is all over all of those. Bert, thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Ryan.
With the rosters officially set for the World Cup, we welcome in the co-host of SITV's Planet Football and our dear friend, mi amigo, Luis Miguel Echegaray. Now, Luis, who's the one player that a nation will regret leaving off their World Cup squad?
First of all, 9 days, Robin. 9 days. Can you feel it? The World Cup is coming. Okay, let's talk about Leroy Sane from Germany. I think this is the biggest shock of them all. This is a player who won the Young Player of the Year in the Premier League last season, playing for Manchester City, scoring 17 goals and 14 assists in all competitions. This is a really big shock, I think, because he gives so much when it comes to the German team and as a player. He's a conventional winger, but he can also cut inside and provide assists. I'm really surprised by this one.
Now, a little bit of a negative aspect with Germany, but a lot of positives there as well, because in the official SI predictions, you, along with everybody else, have Germany and Spain in the semifinals. Why do you think those two teams are locks, and who's more likely to end up in the finals? Yeah,
I mean, listen, it's no surprise that we have a fantastic Spanish team because they're a combination of a golden generation like Sergio Busquets and then Andres Iniesta and the promising youth like Marco Asensio and other players like that. So it's a really, really good team. I have no surprise that many have picked them to go to the semifinals and even winning it. Germany is a machine, Robin. They can literally put out a C team and make it all the way to the quarterfinals at least. So there's no shocker to me that they'll make it that far, even without Leroy Sane. I still see Germany going through just because of the type of squad that they are and the way that they're managed by Joachim Löw.
Now, maybe a prediction some would be surprised by. You're not picking Ronaldo or Kane or even Messi leading the way in goals in the group stages. Instead, Colombia's Radamel Falcao. Why are you making that pick?
Yeah, now careful. Let's remember, I said most goals in the group stages, not overall golden boot. We'll see how far Colombia goes. Radamel Falcao missed the 2014 World Cup, which basically prompted for James Rodriguez to become the star that he became. Radamel Falcao remembers that. So he's coming to this World Cup in an open group, by the way, a group that Colombia can win for sure. And he's going to be able to really take advantage of that. There is no doubt for me that I think that Radamel Falcao could arguably be the best goal scorer in the group stages.
One day you're going to teach me to roll my R's.
Radamel.
You have to say my name and I can do it. Who are some of the players we will get to see big transfer offers for after this year's World Cup?
So we have Nabil Fekir from Lyon, a really exciting prospect from France. Liverpool are really interested and might even even happen before the World Cup even begins. I doubt it. The other one is Christian Cueva from Peru, plays for Sao Paulo. He's going to be a revelation in the World Cup if everything goes well, and I think he could even make it to Europe if something goes well with him. And the other one is Ismail Sarr, who plays for Senegal, who is a fantastic winger, and he plays in Ligue 1. He actually wanted to go to Rennes in Ligue 1 as opposed to going to Barcelona. If he has a good World Cup, who knows? He might even go to a bigger European club.
The World Cup, it's almost here. You can catch more analysis from Luis Miguel Echegaray on Planet Football on SITV. I'm here with Jack Cunningham and his mother, Krista. Jack is a Challenged Athletes Foundation athlete and is being honored at the 2018 Heroes Heart and Hope Gala. And Jack, your story is pretty incredible. You were born without fibula bones, had both legs amputated, got a grant from the Challenged Athletes Foundation in 2016, which enabled you to get your prosthetic legs. What was it like when you first got those and were able to walk?
Well, when I was first able to walk, I started to sort of keep trying to go faster and faster, and then when I finally got to take them home to try them out, the first thing we did was go to the track.
So you got right to running right away. I mean, you now participate in cross-country, track, even swimming. You hold several junior Paralympics records. Do you realize how impressive what you're doing is?
Not really, because I always just think that it's something that every kid usually does, and I usually just think that I'm normal, and I don't realize that other kids aren't like this.
Well, you got a good perspective for a young man. Now, as a mother, you must be filled with just such tremendous pride. His journey, Jack's journey, what's stood out the most to you?
I think Jack the fact that he never gives up. He has never put limits on himself. He's never let anybody put limits on himself. So he plays able-bodied sports. He's finished races top 3. And then when he comes to Paralympic Games, he's usually the top finisher.
Does that ever still surprise you just to see him in first? Because, look, it's not normal to be in first place.
Right. No, it's amazing because we didn't know if he'd be able to walk, let alone run.
It is amazing. Now, you're being honored tonight at the 2018 Heroes Heart and Hope Gala. The Challenged Athletes Foundation has obviously had a huge impact on your life. Tell us a little bit about the work they're doing and what it's meant for you.
It sort of meant a lot because I wouldn't be doing any of the sports I've done today or be going here or anywhere. And the only sport I'd be doing was soccer, but then I wouldn't be able to run fast, and it would, CAF and CAF, the Challenged Athletes Foundation and all, has just impacted my life so very much.
How about, from your perspective?
They've given us opportunities that we never even thought were possible. Through their grants, they give other children, whether it's trips, equipment, they just open the doors.
Well, it's so great. Congratulations on being honored. And Jack, you're awesome. Krista, thank you as well.
Thank you.
That'll do it for us here today on SI Now. We'll be back same time and same place tomorrow. In the meantime, you can check out @SI Now Live on Twitter for the latest videos and updates. Have a good one.